Hey everybody, it's Paul from Karis Pen Co. And today we're going to do some different things. Um, we kind of sat down and talked about the pens in a different way when we were at one of our last meetings, and realized that sometimes when we do a video that talks about a specific pen, it doesn't really give you an idea of the size comparison or functionality comparisons to some of our other pens, especially on new product. When we're releasing something, if you don't have the chance to come into the shop and use it, or potentially go to a pen show or know somebody locally to you that has one of those pens, then you don't really have an idea, and you can't really tell from some of the videos what that pen might be in comparison to our other pens. So for now, we're going to only be comparing our products with our own products. So this video is going to concentrate on comparing our capped rollerball pens, the Render K, the first pen we ever designed and released. Although this is the version 2 variant of that that we changed in May of 2016, I believe. And then also the ink rollerball, and then we're going to be comparing that specifically to the Galaxie XL, our brand new capped rollerball pen. So this will give you an idea if you're on the fence about the Galaxie XL and you're like, well, I don't really know that much about it, but I have a Render K. This will give you an idea on similarities between that pen and the other two pens and the differences. And just to start off, we're gonna do a version of that pen that is standard across the board. So we're pick the all black version. It was either that or it was the tumbled aluminum, and the all black's a little bit better. It gives you an idea, shows you some of the anodized version of that, and it's just easier that way. Depending on how you guys react to these videos, we might end up doing more of these videos where we kind of compare some of our click pins with our non-click pins. And potentially, down the road, we could also potentially compare our pens with some other pens that are on the market, so you get an idea of how our pen stacks up to some of the most popular non-metal pens you can pick up in Office Max or what have you. But give us your feedback on this video down in the comments, and if this is helpful to you. We are going to do a couple of these initially. And if you have some ideas, hey, I'd like to see you guys compare this pen with that pen, you can always email it or put it in the comments below. But let's go ahead and get started on this rollerball compare and contrast video. So what we're really going to do is we're going to focus on the similarities first, and then the differences. And we'll go through the similarities quickly because there aren't very many of them. There's more differences really in these pens than there are similarities. So first off, the pens are roughly the same length, while the ink rollerball, the ink as a whole is a little bit longer than the Render K and the Galaxie XL. They are pretty close in overall length when capped. They're also made out of the same material. The Galaxie XL is only available in aluminum, but the Render K and the ink are available in upgraded materials with brass and copper and mix and match. But that's, these are all the aluminum versions. The clips are made out of the same material, as well as the fasteners. We use stainless steel clips, and while the ink clip is milled and water jetted, the clips that we use on the Render K and the Galaxie XL are stamped here in Arizona. It's a design that we designed the clip internally. We wanted it to look this way. And then we use stainless steel fasteners on all of these pens. Externally, there's not a lot of similarities between them. Internally, the last similarity between all three pens is that they ship standard with a Pilot G2 refill in black. So those are really the similarities. Surprisingly, while these are all rollerball pens, they're all black, they're all roughly the same size, and they have some similar features. There's a lot more differences than there are similarities. So we'll get into the differences quickly, and then during this video, you're probably seeing some photos pop up. Hopefully that gives you a little better idea than me just kind of messing with the pens haphazardly. The first big difference between the pens is that the ink rollerball and the render K pens are quite a bit more functionally, they have functional variants. We call them modular, and then they have a larger refill compatibility than the Galaxie XL. So the ink itself was designed initially as a fountain pen, and during that process we realized that we could also design it so that it would accept a rollerball in it. So that was kind of somewhat of an afterthought, but since it was designed initially as a fountain pen, there is that modularity where if you purchase a fountain pen or a rollerball, we have a kit available on our website and our parts and accessories that you can purchase, and you can move back and forth between the two without buying a whole nother body. Sometimes you're in a situation where you may not be able to use fountain pen ink, or you run out, and the ability to quickly get a rollerball, a rollerball refill and put it in with the grip section that's basically the exact same grip section that you'd be using with a fountain pen. It maintains the weight, it maintains your writing experience if you're really particular about that. Similarly with the Render K, it is now, when we changed it to the version 2, it is now also a modular pen where you can switch back and forth between the Fountain K and the Render K really easily with just swapping some parts out. The other thing that's really big about these pens is that we designed a lot of refill compatibility in these pens. So the Render K has the most refill compatibility out of all three of these pens. While it comes standard with the Pilot G2 refill, it will also accept a Parker style refill, the Fisher Space Pen refill, any of the 110 millimeter refill or Euro refills. So your Energel, Pentel Energel, the Signo 207, and then it also will accept the Schmidt P8126, which is a liquid rollerball and it's kind of what I call an adapted Parker style refill. It's a little bit fatter and slightly longer than the, actually slightly shorter than the standard Parker style refill. So this, of all of our pens, the Render K has the most refill compatibility out of all the other pens. The ink rollerball can accept any of the G2 or Euro style refills, as this one can, and then it can also accept Parker style refills. It does not have compatibility anymore for the Schmidt P8126. We made changes to the grip section for this when we came out with the box style nibs, and it eliminated the compatibility with the Schmidt P8126, which is somewhat unfortunate, but you can get the same writing experience in several other refills that are similar to that. So these are very robust and have a lot of options. If you're very particular about your refills, these have a lot of that. Another difference, these pens are designed, there's threads obviously. The pens themselves have a clean, there's no taper. The cap and the barrel are the same diameter, so you get this nice taper. It's very clean lines, while it does have a somewhat industrial look to it. And then you also, when you uncap them, you've got the threads and the barrel step. So if you're a person that has a forward grip on your pen like I do, you'll have to grab on, you may have to grab onto the threads themselves, which doesn't bother me. I've used the ink for since the Kickstarter, so almost 5 years now, and I've never had an issue with it. I used the ink before I even worked at Karas and always grabbed onto the threads. The threads aren't that aggressive, but if that bothers you, that's something that you'll run into. And also, these pens are not designed to post. While they can post, they're extremely cumbersome, and then the internal threads themselves will mark up the body of the pen, especially in the heavier metals. If you post the cap on there, you're going to scratch the barrel, and you can scratch off the anodize. You will, over time, wear off the anodize. So the Galaxie XL, the differences with this pen are specifically, first off, you'll notice from the outside, we've used some different fasteners. While these are stainless steel fasteners, they're Torx fasteners, Torx Plus fasteners, if you're really particular about that. And that was something that we wanted to do with this pen, just because the overall design of the pen, it kind of fit the pen a little bit better. So there's that. And then big difference in this pen right off the bat is the fact that the cap is significantly larger than the barrel. And part of that is because this is a slip cap and it's designed to post. There's not a lot of things that you can do unless you have a really drastic taper where the pen tapers dramatically at the end and has a much larger cap. You really have to make the cap larger than the barrel so that it does post. And then also, so because it's a slip cap, I mean, you can design a pen with the slip cap in this style that has the outside the same way, but it's not necessarily gonna post very well. So you have a larger cap in diameter than the barrel. It also has, like I said, it has that slip cap retention system with the O-ring that we designed this pen. And then the grip section itself is basically a modified fountain pen section for the Reactor series. We did that. We kept them the same because it allows us to use the same internal geometry on both the fountain pen and on the rollerball. So you've got a really comfortable grip section. You've got almost a seamless transition here. While there is a seam, it almost feels seamless. We've done the geometry really nice. The machining is really nice, so that you can comfortably grip the pen wherever you prefer, depending on what your writing style is. The pen is designed to post, and it posts really well. People have commented that theirs is not very secure, and I would challenge them and say you're probably not pushing it on hard enough, because this pen is designed, I'm shaking it pretty hard, it's not coming off. It's designed to post, and it's designed to post securely. So it's not just gonna come off randomly. Now, with a long writing session, just the writing against the paper, I have noticed that it can work its way with the friction and the movement of the hand. It can work its way free, but it's still on there. I mean, you're on there, if you look, you're on there a good over 2 inches. So it posts deeply, feels really good in the hand. It's not too heavy and back weighted. And we were really intentional about how we designed the pen and comment real quickly. I'll just say this. People are like, well, why didn't you make the O-ring clip into place on the barrel? Well, in order for us to do that, we would have had to have some type of flare back here, similar to the flare here that captures, which would have made the pen look pretty weird. So why we didn't do that. So you have this. You've got those are the major differences between these pens. Like I said, this pen is, and then the price point specifically is the last real. Packaging is a little bit minor, but the price point in the pens are drastically different. You've got $100 at the low end, or $80, I'm sorry, for the all aluminum rollerball, ink rollerball, and then $60 for the Render K, and then the Galaxie XL is $45. So we really tried to trim as much cost as we could and produce a fully machined aluminum fountain pen or aluminum rollerball pen that kind of has its own style and its own and a unique capping method, and it posts a lot of different things that feedback from users provided us, but we wanted to do it at a price point that was pretty reduced compared to other pens, what we're considering an entry-level pen for us, just because we really can't shave off too much more cost before we really, or too much more of a price point before we get into where we are kind of almost breaking even, at which point we're, what's the point of making a pen? We have to make a little bit of money so we can continue to produce them. So there is that difference in price point, but now you've seen them really up close. And one last thing, so they are relatively similar in length when they are uncapped, which in my opinion, while the Galaxie XL is a little bit, it's about 1/4 of an inch shorter than the other two. It's still extremely comfortable to write with without it being posted. I do not like to post my pens, and I feel this is comfortable without it being posted. Although it does post well enough that you can easily write with it that way. I'm not a fan of posting. So there you have kind of the similarities and differences between these three are capped rollerball pens. Hopefully that gives you guys some ideas and some help if you're kind of looking at the pens, trying to decide if you want to purchase the Galaxie XL, but you've never used it before and you're familiar with some of our other pens because you've either tried them somewhere or you owned one. So hopefully that's helpful. If you'd like to see us do some comparisons with other pens in the future, go ahead and put the comments down below on pens that you'd like us to see. If it's within our power and relatively inexpensive for us to get our hands on, we do have a lot of pens that we kind of do tests on and stuff like that, for specifically like cheap, inexpensive pens that you can pick up at the store, Uniball, Papermate, Pilot pens that we specifically purchased to try their refills to see if they'll fit in our pens, but we could always pull those out and do a quick side-by-side comparison and show you guys how our pens stack up with those. We've never done it before in the past, but it's something that we could potentially do if you guys are interested in that. And there's always a possibility that we could do that with some other similar pens to what we produce if we can get our hands on them. But that's the comparison video with the Galaxie XL, the Render K, and the Ink Rollerball. Hopefully this is helpful to you. And like I said, just put your comments down below, or you can always email us, info@karascustoms.com. Love hearing from you guys. So next time, guys, we'll get into the Starliner XL and the ink fountain pen and the Fountain K, and we'll give you guys a look through on how those three stack up together. So I'll see you next time.